Are they misleading us when it comes to pensions? My real question is, because they are, my real question is it deliberate? And I think it is. I think it is. Now, I can't prove it. I can't say it's nefariously done. I don't know, but something doesn't pass the sniff test, the Sniffy Joe test. I like to smell the little girl's hair. Ooh, something doesn't pass that test. And it's frustrating me. I don't understand why. Like, what's the point? Why are we doing this? Anyway, so I did this article, a video on this article about stupid Tim Walz, Tampon Tim. And one of the things that was in here in this Wall Street Journal was, let's see, in March 2023, 15% of private sector workforce had access to a pension plan. Right? In contrast, about 60% of families headed by someone born in the 1930s had pensions, as according to the Boston College's Center for Retirement Research. So basically, what they're saying is, but if you were born in the 1930s, 60, even almost 70% of you had access to a pension. Interesting. And yet they'll say right here, in March 2023, only 15% of private service workforce had access to a pension. We're going to come down and see this chart right here, and you're going to see if you were born in 1931 or so, 68% had a pension. If you're born in 1924, 68% had a pension. Even if you're born in 1943, almost 60% had a pension. All right, so let's think about this through here. Let's think this through. So if I was born in 1934, 65% had access to a pension. Shares of households with a pension plan by year of birth. So that means by the time 60 years have gone by, I was born in 1934, that means 1994 is when I start collecting. So I had because I'd never heard this. I mean, I've heard of similar things. I said, I've yet to see any evidence of this right here at all. I have yet to see any. I've looked at the congressional data when they were passing Social Security. I looked at the congressional research when they're passing ERISA in 1970. I just haven't seen anything that said 70% of the workforce ever had a pension. I haven't seen it. I'd love to see it, but it's just not there. And I'll even prove it to you here. So we're going to go. So I looked at the Center for Retirement Research. I said, where are they getting this number from? So I typed in shares of households with a pension, because that's exactly what the Wall Street Journal article says, shares of households with a pension. And we came up, what we found is we got some stuff here. Nothing really jumps out at me for that specific article. A couple of things I want to read. But I said, let's just go all the way down here to frequently requested data. All right, so frequently requested data would be pension participation of all workers by type of plan, 1989 to 2019. All right, so 1989, that'd be from what? You're born in 1929, would it not be? Yes, it would. 1989 would be you were born in 1929, and according to the Wall Street Journal, not Wall Street Journal, but Center for Retirement Research, if you're born in 1929, 63% of you had a pension. That's okay. So let's see if that shows in 1989. So let's see here. We're gonna look. Does that show in 1989? 22% had a defined benefit only. That's it. 15% had a defined contribution plan, 10% had both, 53% had none. All right, so interesting. So the people who had defined benefit plans were only 32%. Interesting, is it not? Yes, it is. Very interesting, because that's 1989, where the Center for Retirement Research is trying to make it seem like in 1929, again, 60 years later, when you start your pension, be 60 years later, they're basically saying over 60% of the people had access to a pension. Very interesting. We're going to keep going here. So say you were born in we're going to come back here. Right here, 1933. I'm not sure you're going to have 1933, but it'll be pretty close. So that means that'd be 1993, you would have access to a pension. We got 1992, and only 29% of the people had access to a pension. Interesting. In 1992, 1995, only 20% of the people had access to. So what happened to all these people who had access to a pension? Share of households with a pension plan by year of birth. What happened to all these people? Because they're not getting a pension in 1930 when they're just born. It's not happening. So what happened? 60 years from now, it'll be 1990. What happened to the pension? I just showed it to you right there. The pension is 29% of the people had it, and yet they're trying to say that 65% of the people had it when their year of birth. That makes no sense. So then I started looking a little bit more. I came up with this thing from them right here, which is workers with pensions coverage type of plan. So I said, let's check this out. In 1983, 62% had a defined, remember, these are workers with pensions. So you have to have a pension to qualify for this. And wait a second. 1983, 62% of workers with a pension had a defined benefit pension plan. 12% had a defined contribution pension plan. 26% had both pension types of plans, because the defined contribution plan is also a pension plan. So workers with pension plan, 100% of the workers with a pension plan, not 100% of workers had a pension plan, but 100% of the workers with a pension plan. Of that 100% of the workers with a pension plan, 62% had a defined benefit plan only. 12% had a defined contribution plan only, and 26% had both. Interesting. So you can see defined contribution is also thrown in as a pension plan by the Center for Retirement Research's own method here. 1998, only 24% of the people with a pension plan had a defined benefit plan, whereas 60% had a defined contribution plan and 16% had both. Workers with pension coverage, I'm just reading what they say. To have a defined contribution plan meant you had a pension coverage. Interesting. But yet workers with a defined benefit plan only was only 22%. And yet the Wall Street Journal is trying to, and Center for Retirement Research is trying to assume that pension is encompassing only defined benefit plans. It's just not. It's not, because Wall Street Journal, Center for Retirement Research's own study here says workers with a pension plan and defined contribution plan is thrown in that. I hope that makes sense, dude. That it irks me. It irks me. Because everyone's saying, oh man, pensions. Like even down here they say, right here, what does she say? She goes, they wrote in here, yeah, right here. Would you rather have a pension or a 401k? And that thing is not mutually exclusive, as witnessed by Center for Retirement Research's own stuff. A pension coverage includes defined contribution plans, which is a 401k. Very, very frustrating to me. I just, very, very frustrating to me. This is the best. This is Ann, what's her name? Ann Turgeson. Yeah, she's been around a long time. Anyway, I just, it ticks me off, dude. That just ticks me off. All right, more to come. I just love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to follow the like button. All right, God bless.